Well, it was quite an experience yesterday being the very first target in the Pentagon's new Operation Silence the Talk Show hosts. Friends called us in concern. Are you guys all right? And for a minute, we'll concede we were almost rattled. Then we realized if the woke generals treat us like they've treated the Taliban, we'll be fine. 20 years later, the Taliban are still here. Maybe we ought to promise the Pentagon that we'll get rid of traditional gender roles on this show, change the pronouns, defeat the patriarchy, and all that. Then they'd send us billions in unmarked $100 bills as a reward. They've certainly done that before. And that might really kickstart our struggling opium poppy business. Something to think about. Anyway, we're fine. So thank you for the concern. Well, it was quite an experience yesterday.
Wow, that escalated quickly, to say the least. Tucker definitely doesn't hold back, but everything he said there was honest. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okadowski of WeAreChange.org. In this video, we are going to be talking about how absolutely insanely CNN is more wrong than they are right. We're going to get into some interesting news about a product we can't even mention. And even though as cases are dramatically going down in the United States, Dr. Fauci now believes that we have even more to worry about. Well, because of climate change. Now, before we get into that, plus a lot more, there's been a lot of news regarding Tucker Carlson recently, and for full disclosure, this is someone that I personally watch. I don't always agree with him, but I think as far as media pundits and mainstream media personalities, I think he's one of them that definitely doesn't always puppeteer the establishment lines. I think he questions a lot of the prevailing logic. Sometimes he even presents both sides of the story, and in my opinion, does a way better, honest job than, of course, everyone else in his field. And I think that's why he's been under such scrutiny, especially lately by CNN, that is now labeling him the new Donald Trump. Yes, Brian Stetler of CNN is so desperate for attention that he is likening a TV personality to the former president of the United States, which of course was vilified by his network. To me, that's very intellectually lazy and pathetic, just like the rest of reporting that comes out of CNN. As of course, time and time again, they have been absolutely wrong on so many issues. Like recently with their article in January of this year, talking about how Bitcoin is now in a bear market because it plunged 20%. This is, of course, when Bitcoin was $37,000. It is now $56,000. And it's fair to say that CNN was literally just making news up, specifically in this context, which they absolutely knew nothing about. Now, again, it's not a surprise here, as we've been reporting to you that the mainstream media and establishment have been absolutely wrong about Bitcoin from the very beginning. But it's not just CNN continuing to be wrong all the time. It's literally them just writing propaganda puff pieces that have absolutely no merit in truth. I don't know who needs to tell CNN this, but the federal government is not the arbitrator of freedom. Writing articles like this that are titled, "Our Pandemic Nightmare is Almost Over, we should all thank the government," is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, everything they're doing is the furthest it could be away from actual journalism, actual reporting, as they have clearly demonstrated themselves to be curators of just absolute nonsense that is paid by the highest bidder. Let's not also forget their promotion of individuals like Jesse Smollett, Michael Avenatti, and of course now to add another list of all-stars to their roster, of course, Andrew Cuomo, which they had an absolute love affair during 2020. Now, when you look at the individuals and the actions that CNN has promoted, I think it's very fair to argue that they have had a tremendous negative effect on society. They are not journalists, they are purveyors of fake news, and by all the specific terms and services here on YouTube, they have violated many of them, and I think that they should be immediately demonetized, downranked in the algorithm, and never found in the search results ever because of their clear, absolute dereliction of duty, especially with the harm that they have caused society. If we had a just world, that would be happening, but no. This channel is demonetized, downranked, and never found in the algorithm, when we're almost the exact opposite of CNN, a company, by the way, which filed fake copyright strikes against this channel a few years ago and literally took it down from being able to live stream. So yeah, I think it's very fair to say that I definitely have a bone to pick or two with CNN. They get to do whatever they want on this platform. Meanwhile, we get screwed. And because we got screwed, we started a t-shirt company. And now, I'm not joking you, I think we are getting out the message more effectively through our t-shirts than even these videos. We, of course, also have a lot of hats, a lot of products that were previously banned. We brought almost all of them back right now. We're working with multiple t-shirt companies to provide you a service that you can't get anywhere else. The shirts we have are exclusive, they are eye-opening, they start many very interesting conversations, and they are an amazing way to spread the message and get the word out there to your community. Just moments ago, we launched this new t-shirt saying, "Who's really in charge?" A few days before that, we launched this beauty school dropout shirt with Nancy Pelosi pictured there prominently. And then before that, we, of course, had this t-shirt that says, "I voted for a $2,000 stimulus check, and all I got was this airstrike." Just some brand new t-shirts that we launched just within this week. We have a lot more, all on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description below, and I bet you will find something that you will absolutely love that will make all of those around you think critically. And because you guys purchased t-shirts, I'm still able to be here, so sincerely, thank you so much for doing so. This, along with LukeUncensored.com, is some of the ways that I'm able to be fully independent and not rely on anyone else or any other platform to still exist. By the way, also yesterday on LukeUncensored.com, we got into an issue that is trending right now on Twitter, as we talked about some of the latest developments with reports coming in that parts of Switzerland, Italy, Austria, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Luxembourg, Iceland, South Africa, Norway, Denmark, and now in the making of this video, Germany have banned the AstraZeneca shot due to reports of complications and blood clots that some people have been reporting. Now, it is important to note here that the United States, Canada, the World Health Organization, and AstraZeneca still claim that this shot is safe. And more specifically, AstraZeneca and the World Health Organization have asserted that there is no scientific evidence and links between the shot and recent deaths from blood clots. Now, there have been some stories of complications and even deaths, which some people point to be related towards this shot. But again, this is a very complicated matter that we exclusively went into full detail on in LukeUncensored.com. I will definitely save it there because this is a controversial issue. Another thing to report in related news to this particular topic is the fact that cases have been dramatically going down ever since the inauguration of U.S. President Joe Biden, and they are continuing to go down as we got a new report from the Wall Street Journal that cases in the United States are at their lowest since early October. Deaths are also falling in the United States. Why is this happening? Some scientific experts are pointing to alleged herd immunity. Again, lots that we still don't know about this particular topic, which should prevent some of the hastily measures that have been implemented by governments, but it has not. They have increased a lot of the most negative actions by states, just like we recently saw in Holland, where police officers decided to break up peaceful protest by using an immense amount of violence that we will not be showing on this YouTube channel. We will be talking about it and showing it on LukeUncensored.com later on today, but for this particular YouTube channel is definitely not appropriate. Now, with the numbers going down, very interestingly, Dr. Fauci was recently on Meet the Press and said that, quote, "All of this, the sicknesses are just the beginning." Why? Well, because of climate change. Now, it's important to note here that there haven't been any direct correlation, links, or scientific articles, data, or studies, or reports highlighting any correlation that climate change had to do with anything related to the sickness of 2020. But it shows you that this administration is becoming more political and less interested in the actual facts and merits of the case. Now, because of the sickness, we need to understand that we had a very disproportionate response from the government. In many countries, they used brute force to enforce this disappropriate response, and it was directly because of government's actions worldwide why we had the absolute economic evisceration of the lower and middle class, and the billionaire super rich class benefiting more than they ever have in recorded human history. It wasn't because of the sickness, it was because of government action. And now, with this larger economic devastation looming, with the effects of it still coming months ahead of us, well, someone's going to have to pay for this, as of course, Joe Biden is now proposing more taxes, more rules, laws, and regulations that, of course, will punish the average person to pay for the larger mistakes that the federal government made, in my opinion. Now, when we look at taxes, especially here in the United States, where does the majority of that money go to? Well, let's just be very frank here. Let's just be very honest here. And the majority of it, of course, goes to the military-industrial complex. That is becoming more and more of a political organization, which, according to their own test reports and war games, they can't even win a simulated conflict between the United States and China. Yes, according to many simulations that the United States conducted, the United States, quote, keeps losing in every simulated war game against China, which would allegedly be held 10 years in the future. There would be use of biological weapons, and then China would use a Chinese military exercise to use as cover for deployment of a massive invasion force, and the United States loses. And of course, this is not a surprise here, as of course we've been talking about the dominance and the ever-rising might of China for years now on this independent YouTube channel, telling you that they are set on global hegemony no matter what the consequences of that is. They have been vigorously modernizing their military, and according to some social political experts, have been waging fifth generational warfare on the American public as we speak right now, especially by being able to influence key institutions like universities, entertainment industries like Hollywood, in order to portray and push on ideas that, of course, make Americans fight each other, that push a larger divide and conquer agenda, that have us hating each other based on trivial differences, rather than, of course, unified, because if a country was unified, it would be a lot harder to take over. If you have a country hating each other, fighting each other, despising each other over the most menial differences, then of course you have a scenario that most likely benefits a country that wants to dominate it as the world power. Now this, along with the news that the U.S. Army might soon halt gender-neutral fitness tests to allow more women in, as of course there seems to be a more concerted effort on things like toxic masculinity and TV show pundits rather than, actually acting in a defensive manner. You see where I'm getting here? It surely does seem like we are already fully engaged and entrapped in fifth generational warfare where there's no looking back from it. And as the U.S. military becomes more and more political, especially under the Biden presidency, specifically going after critics and people skeptical of the current power establishment, individuals like Tucker Carlson, I have to say it's a bit ridiculous seeing U.S. military personnel on duty spending their time getting involved in political commentary, which of course are categorized as political attacks. And whenever historically you have a military become more and more political, you have room for more and more absolute of a horrible situation unfolding right in front of you, whether it was Cuba, Venezuela, Korea, the USSR, Germany, Caesar, and Rome. Whenever you had the politicization of the military force, you had usually absolute chaos or devastation for a particular group. So right now, seeing military men go out of their way to attack private citizens that they disagree with while they are working a part of the U.S. military is absolutely troubling. What else should be troubling is the record of the military-industrial complex and the human atrocities that they cause currently in Yemen, currently in Syria, and their previous records of what they did to Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan are absolutely socially debaucherous and absolutely disgusting. Human slavery was brought back to Libya and to northern Africa because of the military-industrial complex, and, at least right now, a lot of conservatives are being red-pilled on the military-industrial complex. So, at least At least that's going on, right? That's my personal opinion on the matter, on the situation. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why in the comment section below. I always deeply appreciate constructive criticism. I will continue to yet do another video right now, specifically with just the horrible events that unfolded in Holland. I can't believe the videos that I'm seeing out there. Of course, I can't play them here. LukeUncensored.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.